Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel here.
Across the streams of hopes and dreams where things are really not. Come along if you can. Come along if you dare.
Have a good one. Cheers, guys.
Side of your mind, but please realize you'll probably be surprised.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of this week's episode of The 100 on the CW, which is episode 2 of season 5 called Red Queen. So yeah, season 5, I'm really getting into it. I'm really happy with the season so far. I know it's only been 2 episodes. But I already think it's off to a pretty hot start, because I really enjoyed the premiere last week. With Clark being my favorite character, I like how Clark-centric it was, showing her whole struggle to survive completely on her own. I thought it was really well done, very character-driven. And we had a little bit of some other stuff mixed in there towards the end too, but it was definitely more of a like a Clark solo episode almost, which I was fine with. Got my 100 shirt on right now. This is like a custom print of Clark and Lexa here. But yeah, anyway. This week's episode, Red Queen. If you guys have been following my 100 reviews for the past couple of years or so, I've been reviewing since season 3. You'll know I'm not the biggest fan of Octavia necessarily. I think Maria Avgeropoulos does a fine job. She always has. But I've just never been the biggest fan of the character necessarily. I've found her kind of irrational at times, and justifiably so. Or understandably so, because of everything she's lost and been through. She has some sort of like natural emotions and stuff that would make sense with what's happened. But there have been other times like with how Lincoln died. She blamed Bellamy, beat Bellamy for it. But it was really sort of her trying to rush in and do things differently that ultimately kind of got Lincoln in that situation. And there have been other instances like that. As well as sometimes I felt like she shouldn't be as skilled or have survived like she has. I know she's trained by Indra, which makes sense. And there have been worse cases of this on other shows for me, of a character being more talented than they should be at this point. But then when she was stabbed and taken off the cliff by Echo, she survived, and I never bought that. She's like an invincible Rambo. But I gotta say, it's been a little bit since we've watched the show, and I've been looking at Octavia again. My views have kind of warmed on her. I've kind of warmed up to her character a little bit more recently, and I do think this is actually Octavia's best episode yet, because we don't get any of Clark or anyone else outside of the bunker in this episode, which is one drawback. And I still gotta say I probably did still prefer the premiere last week to this one. But again, that's just personal preferences with characters and such. But this episode is definitely Octavia's best yet for sure. And I think it's done more than ever to sort of show how much she's grown and what she's become, really. Because she has to sort of manage, this growing, of course, paranoia, which parallels, what happened on the Ark and everything. How against she is of anything, population control, of course. And even like Kane and Abby in this episode. It was good to see Kane again in this one, though. He's one of my other favorite characters. How they even bring up how how they're like like some cases of potential cannibalism on the Ark and everything. That's why they had to start floating people, because to get rid of the dead bodies so they wouldn't be devoured basically. I didn't talk too much about that, but I like that. That's kind of like a grittier sort of subject that I'm glad the show touched on, at least. So I have to figure out what to do about that. There's and of course there's a woman who ends up causing more trouble than what they really need right now, over rations, and of course different areas being sectioned off with the groups in there and such. But Octavia and the others wanting to just make them one group and have it be divided, the way it was up there and everything. So I like all that, but the episode especially gets good when Octavia basically decides she has to basically prove herself and show how strong she is, with some encouragement from others, and sort of just assert herself as this, commander and force that has to be followed, sort of in the grounder way, but not for Blood Must Have Blood anymore. It's for they're still trying to make their own rule, I guess, but still, when Octavia just goes in there and starts slaughtering them one by one, with her saying either against one crew or with one crew or against. She just keeps repeating as she keeps just taking him down left and right. And it's some fairly well choreographed stuff too. I really like the whole sequence. Marie Avagopoulos' delivery here with the lines, when she first walked in, there's an immediate different tone with her. Just as she was saying, there's too many people here. Her voice is just changed. And I think she actually did really well here, and this episode has made me buy into Octavia more than I ever have before. I'm not to say she's one of my very favorite characters now, but she's definitely risen. So yeah, when the season's over, I'm probably going to do an updated favorite characters list, by the way. The first 2 or 3 probably will be the same, but I still kind of want to talk about it again. But yeah, I really liked Octavia here. It felt like a more natural sort of scenario. The 100, some of the very best parts of the 100 are when they're in these morally ambiguous sort of situations and they have to decide. It's a very grim choice, but a real one they have to make, and this is another one of those, really. Another big thing in this episode is that we actually see the death of Thelonious Jaha. Been with the show since the beginning, played by Isaiah Washington. He ends up being wounded in one of the scuffles, but he ends up still being able to operate the doors and everything like that. And we get some pretty meaningful conversations with him and Octavia, tying back to how she was treated on the Ark and everything, and how she had to be hidden away and different things like that. How she doesn't feel like one of them, but how she's always, or how they're always her people and everything. So there's some good tiebacks with history and everything I liked quite a bit. I was always unsure of how long Jaha was going to be on the show. There have been a couple times when it seemed appropriate that he could have died. And then there's, the stint in season 3 was under control by Ali. But when he's not under the influence, Jaha is definitely, a very good character. And I think Isaiah Washington did a very good job with him over the seasons. He was always, I think, one of the best actors on the show, really, when it came down to it. And, he represents a very big era, sort of the 100, really. So yeah, his death is definitely well handled, though, especially when Kane and Abby get to him right at the end. I thought that was pretty well acted, too. So yeah, overall, this is a pretty good episode. It surprised me, although maybe I didn't personally like it quite as much as the premiere, just because, less Clark. But we also have Kane and Abby trying to work things out as well, and apparently Abby actually did hear Clark when she got to the bunker in the other episode. But of course, they were buried and sealed and everything. But yeah, this episode surprised me, and like I said, season 5 is off to a really nice start. I'm giving this episode about a 9.1, 9.2 out of 10. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this one. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.